Hello everyone, welcome to Maths Bridge. Today we are going to see in a brief about like a Selenium, overview. Selenium. Selenium automates the web browser. So where we can get the Selenium, overview. So here is the the URL selenium.dev. If you could actually open in one of your browser and then just you can surf in the page, you have a lot of information which you can actually go through it. So precisely Selenium consists of three components known as Selenium IDE, Selenium WebDriver, Selenium Grid. Okay, if you look at an history in short way, it took birth in 2004, created by the Jason Higgins while working in ThoughtWorks organization. Later, Simon Stewart showcased at GATS conference the WebDriver version of talking to the web browsers, considering more refined one. Then eventually these two concepts put together is what we all use of now is known as a Selenium WebDriver. Okay, Selenium again, I'm repeating, Selenium uses for automates the web browsers. Selenium is more powerful. So what that means is it supports multiple programming languages. Like we discussed, it supports Java programming language, it supports a Python programming language, it supports a C Sharp, it supports a Ruby, extra. And one more important point is, it supports text execution in multiple operating system platforms. So what this implies, you can run this test script in Windows environment. You can run this test script in Linux environment, right? You can run this in OS like a Mac. So that is how it's like multiple programming language support, multi-platform support. And one more thing is that browser support. It supports text execution in multiple browsers. So what are the browsers we are referring here? In today's world, Google Chrome, Firefox, Edge, Safari, right? So that's why Selenium is more powerful to automate the web browsers. So we can say that like using Selenium, you can build automation framework, right, to automate the UI based, web UI based applications. Okay, one important point is that Selenium is like an open source. A strong user community is what we have. The cost associated with the procuring Selenium is nil because it's an open source. It is freely available library for you all. Isn't it a motivated the strong the word that help you to actually getting into the language quicker and then try to learn your automation skills, guys. Let's look at overview of components of Selenium. So like we discussed it, Selenium has three components, right? Selenium IDE, Selenium WebDriver, Selenium Grid. So what for Selenium IDE? Selenium IDE is used for like this is a sort of like a tool to use, record and playback. So used for quick creating automation scripts without coding. Works like a web browser extension, basically like the good for beginners, prototyping, small test cases development and all. Now let's look at a Selenium WebDriver. This is the most important widely used component. It allows automation through programming languages like Java, Python, C Sharp. So it interacts directly with a browser using native automation. Works with like a browsers like the Chrome, Edge, Firefox, Safari, like we discussed. Best for building a robust, maintainable test automation suites. Now let's look at a Selenium grid. What is for this Selenium grid? Selenium grid used for parallel test execution. Okay, let you run your test scripts on multiple machines, on different browsers or different versions across different operating systems. great for scaling and reducing text execution time. All right, so make a note of it. These components of Selenium is very important to understand. And then while you are actually building bigger automation frameworks, right, you will understand, like, in each and every the point which you mentioned here, how it is so important for you. Selenium supported programming languages. So programming language like a Java, most widely used with Selenium, right? And a strong community support and libraries. When you look at a Python with Selenium, easy to write and learn, great for quick automation and beginner. C Sharp, commonly in companies using the Microsoft tech stack, .NET framework and all. JavaScript, Node.js, the popular for full stack JavaScript environments. Okay, using this WebDriver JS. And then we have a Ruby, but the clean syntax, but usage has decreased these days. And from Selenium 4 onwards, we are also seeing that Selenium with Kotlin. So modern JVM language, like a fully interoperable with Java. So these are the the programming languages in short that combination with the Selenium is what we see as part of web UI automation. Selenium WebDriver architecture. Let's look at these components and then their interaction. We have a Selenium client library. We have like a protocol called JSON Wire Protocol or W3C WebDriver Protocol, Selenium WebDrivers, and Selenium browsers. These are the subcomponents you can see in Selenium WebDriver architecture. So when you say Selenium client library, means like where you are actually developing your scripts using these programming languages. Like we say, Selenium supports Python, Java, C Sharp, JavaScript, Kotlin, right? You write your test scripts in these languages, and then the client library converts, that your command, your scripts command into a JSON format, right? That is what this client library will do. Now JSON wire protocol or W3C WebDriver protocol, this is what we say is like a communication protocol. So it's communication protocol between your code and then WebDriver. It receives the commands from the client library and sends the command in JSON format to the browser driver, whatever driver that you are going to use, right? So Selenium web drivers, like we have a Chrome driver for the Chrome browser, and okay, Gecko driver for the Firefox browser, Edge driver for the Edge browser, Safari driver for the Safari browser. So the web driver receives the command in the JSON format, which is being sent by the client library through this protocol, right? These commands now, okay, WebDriver try run them on actual browser. Okay, that's why Selenium client library sends test scripts command in the JSON format over a protocol to the WebDriver. WebDriver takes that commands being sent by the client library, and that run them in the actual browser, right? That is how it works. Beautiful. Let's look at this layered architecture diagram. Basically, like this block is what it represents, like let's assume that you wrote a script, your code, which is of your language, like a Java, Python, C Sharp, JavaScript. So probably the command that you see is like a driver.get. So you are trying to open this web page, right? This is a kind of API. So the Selenium client API, what it does is basically takes your command and translated that into the JSON format and sends that formatted command to the WebDriver using WebDriver protocol, right? So meaning WebDriver protocol, what it does is like it is going to send your JSON command to the browser via your driver. So what this driver do? Driver receives your command and it talks to the web browser through native engines. When you say native engines, for example, if you are using like a browser called Chrome browser, then the Chrome engine is what we have, right? So this driver is going to talk to your Chrome engine. Like a browser specific engine is what I am referring in this case. So when you send this command through this native engine, then what it does basically, it perform the requested action is in this case is like you are trying to open this web page. Otherwise you can also see like click the button, enter the text, that sort of functionality, right? Once you perform the action, then obviously like you have to send back the response, right, to the your code. So the browser driver, a combination of the browser, right, it sends back to a success or failure status for this command. Along with it can also send like a data like a page source, element details, logs, which is what you are going to display on this script. Do you understand? This is how the functional view of how each layer actually is passing its functional flow to the other layer. Here is a sample Python Selenium code where we are trying to open web page called the google.com, right? You have the webdriver.com and then giving this Chrome driver, and then this is called a driver instance for this class Chrome. Using driver instance you are trying to open the page, and then you waited for 10 seconds, then you quit the driver instance. Means like the test that you see is that and it opens the page and it closes the page after 10 seconds. That's a test that we do without manual intervention, except where you are actually running the script for this demo. Let me show you a simple demo. I was trying to perform a test to open the google.com and then quit after the few seconds. That's a sort of like a test. What I'm going to show you is that if you look at my screen, I have a PyCharm installed in my environment, and I also installed like a Python, and then I integrated the Selenium. I downloaded the Chrome driver. So what that means is I'm gonna use web browser as a Chrome browser in this demo. Okay, let me run the script. So you see what happens. Like I'm trying to execute this my first test case.py Python file, my script. So you see, you can notice that I think the script is started executing, and then it opens the web page google.com. Yes, nicely I can see the page. Maybe I have to wait for the few seconds because I have given sleep time left 10 seconds. So once this time lapses, yes, you look at my text executed successfully, means this is a statement. After that it is quit, driver.quit. So my script successfully exit from the execution. This is how automation script do like plenty of things. So you can simulate your UI functionality by testing them with automated frameworks like this sample program. I hope this concept is clear. You can write plenty of use cases by leveraging Python, Selenium and WebDriver combination to build your own frameworks. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, click on bell icon and leave the comments. Happy learning. Thank you. Stay tuned to upcoming sessions.